Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Okay, seems to be working. Testing, testing. Am I on? Am I on? Am I on? Cool, cool, cool. Um, I thought I unmuted it. Oh well. How are you? Good evening. I feel a whole lot better today than I have in the past couple of days. My sinuses are definitely doing better. I think I'm gonna go ahead and try and finish up these Custodes ladies and get some of the final details on them. I believe they need, basically one last highlight of yellow, and then I can move into a brighter yellow, and then an ice yellow. So I'm going to go ahead and give this a shot. We're going to see how this plays out. I think I fixed my phone, again, my camera phone, because it has a telephoto lens that I consistently forget about. So we will see how that looks. But to do so, main camera. Starting soon page is gone, starting soon is gone, and there's nothing. It's exactly what we want. So using the telephoto lens, I believe everything is considerably clearer. And so now you guys can really see exactly what's going on here. I'm going to try and finish the gold today. Looks very clear to me. Awesome. Yeah, I was using the wrong setting on camo because they have the regular 12 megapixel lens, and then they've got a 9 megapixel telephoto lens. And the telephoto lens seems to be incredibly crystal clear, especially in comparison to the other one that I have to do an artificial zoom on. So I'm going to go ahead and finish these guys up, these guys and gals hopefully, at least the gold armor. And potentially after that, start working on some of the details like the leather, the handles on their weapons, their sheaths, all that other kind of stuff. But we are done with the darker layers, and I can move on to the brighter ones. And to do so, I'm going to be using Citadel Averland Sunset and Citadel Dorn Yellow, which is as close to like an ice yellow as I can find, but it's apparently incredibly bright and pale, and so it does a good job being a gold or a white for like a gold highlight. So I'm going to mix that up. We're going to give that a shot, and we're going to see how this plays out. Now, at the very end of stream yesterday, I decided to try and use a larger dry brush to see if I could get similar results, but with, you know, a bigger, sloppier dry brush. And it worked. So, I got 4 models done in about an hour and a half, hour 45 minutes. And I got the last model done in about 5. So we're going to see if I can do something similar using this beat-up old, well-loved dry brush, using a brighter yellow across this whole model. So let's give this a shot. Now there's not a whole lot of orange left in here. It's just kind of the orangey yellow that is Averland Sunset. And I mean, you can already see it's getting brighter, which is exactly what I want. So how are you doing, Grizhoot? How are things? I definitely feel better today because my allergies have not tried to kill me, and so I was able to actually kind of exist without being in utter agony for most of the day. Now, something that I think helped with that was I got out of the house. I actually went to my job for the first time since they've hired me. And while we weren't able to get all of the training stuff done, I was able to at least start the processing, which was exactly what I needed. So now they've got me scheduled for the rest of this week and specific days for next week. But it looks like my hours are going to be kind of afternoon into early evening. And so what that means is I'm definitely not going to be able to stream in the evenings anymore. And what's probably going to happen is I'm going to start streaming earlier in the day. Because most of my work days start at 10 and end around 7 to 8 o'clock. Which sucks, because I really enjoy this evening block. It's really helped me kind of settle into the evening, but since my work schedule is changing, I really can't complain. Because I now have a work schedule again. But yeah, you can definitely see we had to go to the DMV today, and of course we didn't have everything we needed, so we have to go back later. Yeah, that's the worst. I really wish that there was a clearer, simpler way to get things done with... Hey, Miwasano, how's it going? With the DMV. As much as I appreciate that we have these government facilities and government authorities, I wish they ran better. I'm doing okay. I'm finishing up the non-metallic metal dry brush on these Custodes models. And I originally did a non-metallic metal daily. Not daily, I wish I was, but I'm trying to get back into some kind of schedule, because for a while, a good while, I was doing this daily, but then it didn't really happen. I ended up getting too bogged down with work and stress and that kind of stuff, and I just didn't have the energy to stream. And then I had some health issues that prevented me from streaming, and I just recently got a job because I had to leave my other job, and it looks like that one is going to actually cut into my evenings. So if I do stream, I don't play a whole lot of other games, at least not on stream. I've gotten really into Baldur's Gate recently, but beyond that, a little bit of Helldivers with some friends. But this stream is mainly for, like, miniature painting. Mainly for me doing these. I do paint other miniatures when I get the chance to. I recently did a fairly big one of Ludwig, the Holy Blade, from Bloodborne. And that was a pretty big model. I don't have it down here with me. I put it up in a display cabinet. But the model was, I believe, about 12 inches tall, with the display base and everything. So that was definitely a big honkin' ambitious project that I was pretty proud of. Have I ever thought of customizing my channel? Not any more than I already have it. I definitely have some thoughts on what I'm going to do, but that's going to require me to learn more about Blender and more about Unity, because that's where I plan on going with it. So that's kind of the plan there, is to go through Blender and Unity to get the assets that I want. So that's definitely something I will eventually do. How about getting a custom logo and a classic banner for my Twitch? I am going to do that eventually, but my wife is an artist, and she's the one who kind of designed my little frogman to begin with. So I'm going to kind of dip back into that well and use her design, because she asked if she could... Well, I asked her if she could do it for me, and she said, yeah, sure, of course. And of course I would love to promote her work as well, so any chance I get, I would gladly do so. But yep. Thank you, appreciate it. Okay, so you can kind of see that I'm now using a brighter yellow here, and it's definitely giving a richer color behind it. And that's kind of what I'm looking for across this. And eventually when I go into the brightest highlights, it'll really have a nice kind of golden sheen to it. So, mercifully, this is taking a whole lot less time than it was with the tinier brush. And because the bristles on this are so kind of effed up, it definitely is only covering the parts I needed to cover. And even where it's not covering it, these are all spots I'm going to brush over or I'm going to paint over anyway. So I'm not exactly losing a whole lot of sleep over these missing spots. Why do I get the feeling that was someone advertising their services? I mean, I get it, you gotta canvas people, but I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay. I don't know. I'm always tickled by that. You know what I mean? Okay, so let's see. We're going to hit that with a little more gold. And after this, I can't really use a dry brush anymore. I've got to go back to the smaller one, because otherwise I'm not going to be able to capture the fine details and the very specific highlights I'm going to want. It's just going to be too big and too messy. So hopefully that will all look real good when I'm done with this. There we go. That's the bright yellow I want on the top. Reflect the shine. And there we go. You can see even that looks nice and bright. And again, all I'm really doing is dry brushing. It hasn't been a whole lot of high-level, high-skill stuff. Just kind of dry brushing and getting the brighter color where it needs to be on the model. Now, sadly enough, this model is one that, hey Sindarius, how's it going? How you doing? You are back. I hope you're feeling better. I think you were the one that was having the foot issues. Slap that paint on. Yep, that's pretty much all this is. I decided to follow through with how I was doing this at the very end of the last stream, and it's working wonderfully actually, because the yellow highlights are still just as broad on the model. It's still bothering you. I'm sorry to hear that. I'm sorry that that's still bothering you. That joint pain and limb pain is never something fun to deal with. Also, hey Darkvolt, good to see you again. Glad you could make it. I'm feeling a whole lot better compared to yesterday. My sinuses finally decided to grant me some mercy. And so, hopefully, I'll be a whole lot clearer today without as much hacking and wheezing and coughing and sneezing. Hey Red, how's it going? Good to see you again. How are things going, guys? I know it's only been a day, but how has your day been? Mine has been pretty okay. I went to my job for the first time as an employee. I got kind of registered in the system. Found out that one of the employees that will be helping me there actually knew me because he went to the high school that I taught at, and he told the supervisor that he had passed by my classroom all the time. So it's kind of weird entering this new world of electronics and technology from being a school teacher and realizing that your employees are theoretically ones you could have taught. Or your coworkers, not your employees, because I'm technically their underling, or their subordinate. That's the word, right? Now I will say, now that I have a functional schedule, it does mean that my streaming schedule is going to change. Unfortunately, most of my evenings are now going to go until about 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock at night, my time. Mom and Dad came around and gave me 250 pounds for my birthday, so there's more plastic crack for me. Congrats! Always more fun to have more stuff for the hobby. Organizing stuff, gathered all my Devastator bits that are not rocket launchers and assembled them. Sadly, one of the last cannons was missing a scope, so I made a mold and did a green stuff copy of that. I just finished cutting the flash off. Very cool. That's stuff I need to do. I was kind of hoping when I first wanted to get Devastators that I could just do a squad of heavy bolters because I like them so much. And then I realized that wasn't feasible because they only give you 2 copies of each weapon. But I bought them anyway because they're a really cool model. That, and I think when I found them they were on sale. Someone had traded them in. So there was that. But yeah, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to stream in the evenings anymore because of my new time schedule. Like right now it's 4:50, and on some days this is about the time I'll be getting off work. On other days I'll be in the middle of my workday. So everything's going to kind of bump back, and I'm going to try streaming in the morning, which is about, I guess, 7 to 8 o'clock-ish, until about 10-ish maybe. So, hopefully that won't be too bad a change, but we'll see what that does. I have no idea how long this is going to last, because, you know, I'm a part-timer now, but we'll see. And see, you can already tell that there's a lot more brightness going on here. That the yellow is doing a lot for making the overall model show a whole lot brighter. Got 2 labs of plasma, 3 heavy bolters. This will take 6 pre-build bodies. I'm kind of running out of backpacks, I found out. Yeah, something I realized, and that was a little upsetting to me, is that they actually have 6 sets of legs, but they only have 5 torsos, which I guess makes sense, but it's still kind of disappointing. What I ended up doing actually was, I know that the Horus Heresy sets have interchangeable hands that allow you to, oh wow, that's really yellow. That allow you to just kind of place the hands in that you want, and some wonderful people did some awesome proxies of those. Yeah, one's the kneeling guy. So, I basically found the proxies and downloaded those and used those to make my Devastators. You'll be putting together your second Custodes combat patrol tonight. I was looking for bits to use female heads instead of helmets. Very cool. I hope that works out for you. If you have any Stormcast, I know the Stormcast lady helmets tend to work real nice. Or lady heads. I'm actually right now printing out an upscaled Sister of Battle third-party sculpt for my shield captain. Though I will say, my brain died. Oh yeah, I had a whole bunch of space on the build plate, and it's kind of a waste to do just one thing. So I filled the build plate with a whole ton of Station Forged Trader Guard. So that is what the rest of my build plate is going to be, and that is what I am eventually going to continue to build. Oh, you're still soaking wet. You had some, but you used them. My roommate had a whole bunch of female heads I printed for him that have cat ears and the like. Well, that would be an interesting version of the Adeptus Custodes. Adeptus Catstodes. Thinking of buying a box of the recent Devastators. The bits I got are from 2009. Wow. I have no idea how recent the current Devastators are. But, yeah, that feels kind of way out of date. You could have your own kitten. Yes, you could. And it would not be canon. You got into the hobby in 2008? I know, right? It feels weird when you look at it that way, that, you know, that was 15 years ago. Because it feels like yesterday. Like you blinked and all of a sudden, it's 2024. Which is something not a lot of people want reminding of, including myself. But, you know, it is what it is. I think 2005, 2006 is when I was becoming, like, really aware that Warhammer was a thing. Like Warhammer 40k. And that's when I played the first Dawn of War in college. And I wasn't super into it because I didn't understand it. And I thought it was stupid, even though the game was pretty well designed, and I just stopped. And it took me until about 2020 to get back into it. And to give it a nice fair shot. And realize that the stupid is kind of the charm of it. But yeah, I really like what the Horus Heresy did, in that they just made it so the regular troops could also be heavy weapons squad if you gave them the interchangeable hands. And, of course, 3D printers out there had a lot of fun just, you know, making it so that they had weapons set up that are using the proper hand alignments and whatnot. So that's what I've got. I've got, I think, a heavy bolter squad and a multi-melta squad made up entirely of 3D printed Horus Heresy models. Now, they're clearly not, I'm not going to say clearly, they're really darn close to the real thing, but there's definitely some differences if you take a real close look at them. You love the new how the heresy weapons are modeled after the old Rogue Trader weapons, so I got them to make old school proxies. Yeah, I think that's something that's really overlooked about the heresy, is Games Workshop is very much using the Age of Darkness kits to really be throwbacks to the original Rogue Trader models. Like the new Sentinel that the Solar Auxilia get. I'm pretty sure that one is meant to be a reference. All that fun stuff. Man, this really is becoming nice and gold. I'm digging it. But yeah, give me a second. I think I can show this stuff off. Okay, so no, I'm incorrect. What I had done was I 3D printed some Devastators using STL models, STLs, which are these guys. And one of them had, like, bespoke Imperial Fist bits, which I really liked as a Fist player. And the other one I tried to make a little more generic, so that he just kind of fit in better. And, of course, they've got the Imperial Fist heraldry. Though, for some reason, this one's very different than that one. I'll have to look at that later. But the other thing I did was 3D printed this guy, which looks remarkably close to the ones that are out for retail. So, pretty jazzed about that. Except I used a horrible dip wash, and it looks pretty bad on him. Thank you. You built a squad based on the loadout from Space Crusade, planning on making your own board game one day. I mean, that sounds like a good idea to me. I never got to play any of those games because got into the hobby way too late. But they're things that I always wanted to have. Like my hope is that sometime in the near future they re-release Space Hulk again. Because I would love to own a board game of Space Hulk, but I think the last time they released Space Hulk, wasn't that in like 2009? I don't remember. Now, something that one of the people at the local game store I frequent at, they told me that you could basically just make Space Hulk with without the models. Like, you could just proxy everything. You don't even need the terrain, it's just kind of a grid. And as much as I appreciated his input, all I could think of is, like, you're severely misunderstanding the appeal of this for me. Like, I could play Warhammer with nothing but beer and pretzels, but I'm clearly not into Warhammer for the stunning gameplay. You got two boxed of Space Hulk 3rd edition, one in German, one in English when they did another release, and I found a tower of boxes not sold. That's incredible. Like, those things are probably worth a good amount of money too at this point, because Space Hulk was one of those games that just everyone loved. I have run out of dry brushable paint. I'm gonna need more than that. I have so many bottles of Averland Sunset. I bought a ton of them to try and front load when I first started painting Imperial Fists, and then I stopped using it for a while when I went to a Vallejo color that I thought was overall better, but it kind of lacked the warmth of Averland Sunset, so I've kind of gone back to the Averland Sunset. And honestly, I'm glad I did, because it's so much more vibrant a color than the Vallejo Golden Brown, I think is what it was called. I'm not planning on selling any. I really just want to have one set I paint in the original Blood Angel, since I hacked the first set to make Deathwing, but I'm missing pieces somewhere in the house. Oof. Well, good luck finding them. Dry brushable paint. Yeah, right. I mean, what it basically was I just ran out of shit on my palette, but I refueled it and everything's good now. Okay. Let's see here. The second box is all complete and on sprue. Wow. That must be a really cool piece of history to have. Come on. I need you to go a little bit less orange, a little bit more yellow. Still got all your painted Gene Stealers. That's something else I want out of that. I played Space Hulk Deathwing and was smitten by the promise of the game, if not the actual game itself, because the game itself was like really just okay. And it made me really want to play the board game version of Space Hulk. Which I guess is kind of the point, to entice you to want to play an actual physical game. But I kind of wish that Games Workshop would stop that. And just release a good digital version of their game. Because I can't always meet up with my friends. And there we go again. Much more gold. Exactly what I want. On to the last guy. We're going to go ahead and give him a nice yellow dry brush. And we're going to hope that this ends up looking okay. I mean, at this point, there's not much hoping. It's going to be fine. It continues to look great on every model, so I'm not exactly praying for a miracle here. Okie dokie. Space Hulk Ascension is the adaptation of the board game rules? Yeah, that's the other game. That's the one that's supposedly a whole lot closer to the actual board game. Space Hulk Deathwing is the one that I'd like to play with friends, but I don't see it like keeping their attention because it's just not a great game. Especially when you have things like Helldivers and Darktide out, you know what I mean? So, hopefully... Yeah, it is kind of a shame, but I feel like Games Workshop has gotten a whole lot better at having quality games for their IP since then. So, you know, it had to walk so that Darktide and Vermintide and the like could run. So I'm not too beaten up, or not too eaten up by it. Especially when you got stuff like Space Marine 2 coming out, and Necromunda Hired Gun being a pretty solid entry. I'm kind of sad that nothing came of Bolt Gun after it came out, because it was a fun game, even if it was kind of just a run and gun. But I remember them doing some really fun advertisements for it when they were first previewing it, and then it came out, and then nothing. They didn't do any follow-up, didn't do anything fun with it, you know? But I don't know how Games Workshop's advertising campaign works. Or how their advertising team works. Right now debating on how I want to do my Custodian Guards. Well, good luck. That's kind of the beauty of them, is you can do them a million different ways. Okay. And this guy is about done with his new layer of gold armor. Next is going to be a considerably brighter layer that's a whole lot more sparse, mixed with the ice white, or the ice yellow that I've got. So we're going to put him down, and we're going to work our way in reverse. We're going to mix in some Dorn Yellow. Part of me wants the sword and shield, but I also love the spears. I did 2 of each, just because it was, you know, allowed me a little bit of both worlds. And what I'm probably going to do is buy another set of Custodian Guard and do those that are 2 of each. And that way I can just have 1 squad of each. Why did my phone ping twice? Is someone... Did I get pinged? One moment, please. Sorry, I just got like 2 alerts, and I don't know why. Nope, nothing there. I think it's just really late texts. Oh, no, okay. I'm gonna have to, not hop off, but like, be away from the door for a minute. Oh, what's happening with Doig Swift? This is Doig on Swifty's computer. The recovery USB was a no-go. Gonna try and replace the OS hard drive, so more than likely no stream at least tomorrow morning. Dumb shit Thursday. No. That's unfortunate. Poor Swifty. Poor Doig. But yeah, I think I'm gonna buy another set of Custodian Guard specifically so I can do that. But let's see. I'm gonna try using the dry brush again. We're gonna see if this works. And I'm actually, no, you know what? I'm gonna do this on something I don't care about. I'm gonna do this on the banner. We're gonna see if this works on the banner before I mess up the dude that I really like. Man, he must have spent all day trying to fix that thing. Okay, that's pretty good. Oh man, I completely forgot about the thing on the bottom. I guess we'll just have to make that like steel or something. This is actually turning out pretty okay. Once again, getting just a little bit of brightness across the entire thing. Not being too oppressive with it. And yeah, getting a not terrible, like light yellow highlight. Man, I hope he didn't lose like everything. Because I wasn't fully awake. I guess come to think of it, a Freeman gave me their guard, and I built them for him with spears, so I think that means sword and shield time. There you go. Problem solved. Fantastic. Congrats. Yeah, I think this is actually going okay. So, I might continue using this on the actual Custodes models, and we'll see how bright it's able to go, or how much it's able to highlight without being too obtrusive. Because I think that looks okay. Is that starting to look even brighter, guys? Is that selling that this is a like a gold type highlight? I think we're slowly getting there. And I think the next one's gonna do it. So, next guy we're gonna go ahead and do is the one holding it, so there's some consistency. And again, I'm not gonna work so hard to keep the gold on the brush this time, or the paint on the brush, because, oh dear, there he went, goodbye. Because I only want to really hit the highest points. I don't want this to spread across the entire model like the other ones were doing, because I don't want it to wash out and override the previous set of highlights. And again, I really can't complain with this. This looks fantastic. It's only kind of hitting the spots I need it to hit. It's coming in bright where it needs to come in bright, and leaving the other stuff alone. And all the other spots that I'm hitting on accident, I can kind of just paint over once I get there. But in the meantime, I'm getting some nice isolated highlights here. I'm not even in the center of the screen anymore. I apologize, fellas. Okay. Getting too dry. I'm going to need to wash that down. Now, the only semi-unfortunate thing for me is that the Custodes cost so much points-wise that I really don't have room for another Custodian guard in a 1,000-point game. Because I bought Alea and Valerian quite a while ago. They were one of the first Custodes I got, and I tried painting them up in non-metallic metal. And so they're my HQs. Like, they kind of have to be my HQs. But what that means is that those guys are locked into my army. How about making a second squad for weapon swaps? That's kind of the plan. That's not a bad idea. That way, if I want them to all have Guardian Spears for a match, I can. And if I decide that, nope, that squad's going to be shields, I can just take them from the reserve unit. That's a good idea. The only unfortunate part of that is I got to spend more money. So, I'll definitely do something like that. I don't know, and then if I ever get them to a 2,000 point army, which is honestly not my goal, then I'll have that. So it'll all work out. Okay. Your opinion? You were planning on buying another set already? Yeah, I really was, wasn't I? I was actually trying to talk myself out of it, but you know what? It's on the list. It's yet another thing on the list. Okay. No, you see where the wind is blowing. Okay, and now this guy isn't done, but you can clearly see, like, this is gold. I mean, part of it is the bright light, but this is pretty clearly gold. One moment. Yeah, even outside of the light, even when I'm looking at him in, like, dim light, this is definitely gold. Very cool. Exactly what I was going for. So I'm still playing, Elden Ring, and I'm still really bad at Elden Ring. But I faced again. I'm making my way through the game very slowly because I'm cautious, and I'm about 7 hours in, and I just fought Margit, and I spent about 45 minutes just getting my ass kicked by that boss over and over and over again. And I don't know if you guys have played Elden Ring or you know who Margit is. I forget. But he's like, I think he's the first major boss that you fight, because there's do you play the Elden Bling game? I'm not sure what that is. I don't know if that's an in-joke or if you're serious. I have no idea. All I know is that I'm struggling. I finally beat Margit. I had to summon the magic user, the sorcerer that's there for you to summon, because I don't have access to the online portion. I would love to be okay with just making models modular instead, but I'm too lazy and focused on working at a project to keep in mind to remember to do the things first before making the smart decisions. It's also a hassle to keep all of the parts together. Fashion Souls? I have no idea what Fashion Souls is. I started off as a wretched, so I'm literally running around with all the stolen armor I could find. Like, I'm not really into the Soulsborne community to know all the memes and the jokes. I apologize. There we go. That's the brightness I'm looking for. But no, I know nothing about the Fashion Souls. All I know is that Margit was difficult, and I didn't realize you could parry in the game because I had yet to find a weapon or an armor or anything that would allow me to parry. So I fought him in medium armor with an ally, and just barely beating him by the skin of my teeth after about 45 minutes of ramming my head against a wall. So there's that. Fashion mode is when you're hunting for good-looking outfits rather than game stats, since you're already in a comfy game loop. To be in a comfy game loop, I'd have to be comfy with the game, and I cannot emphasize enough how bad I am at Dark Souls. I seriously cannot. I am what the kids call dog water at Dark Souls, and at Elden Ring, and at Bloodborne, and at all of those games. The farthest I ever got in a Dark Souls, I think I beat the Moonlight Butterfly, and I cheesed it by getting the Drake Sword. I've never played Dark Souls 2 or 3, and in Bloodborne, I think I beat... What's the guy's name? He's like he's the big blood hunter that you fight near the beginning of the game. I'm not good at him. So I can't afford to be aesthetic. I mean, if you want to go for it, man. I mean, it's more money. You're getting more bang for your buck. But yeah, I never hit that part, that part in the gameplay loop where you're feeling confident enough that you can just play the game for hours on end. In Demon Souls, I got to the Flame Lurker, and I nearly beat him once, but I keep playing like a heavy armor, heavy block archetype. And apparently those aren't very good, especially when you're impatient. Understandable, I know from Warframe where people call it fashion frame, and MMOs have glamour that allow you to override a gear's look. Yeah, Diablo 3 did that, and I thought that was one of the coolest functions of that game, was that you could just spend money to buy runes that would reskin your armor to make it look like whatever. And so you could keep your armor statistically where you wanted it, and make it look like whatever other armor you wanted, which I thought was pretty cool. But yeah, I think the closest I can get right now is I've only got 2 sets of heavy armor, and one of them is the horseman armor. The guys who are constantly either on horses or they are surrounded by wolves. And they've got a big 2-handed curved blade. And the baseline armor that, like, all the foot troops are using. And that's it. That's all I got. And I'm using the horseman armor just because I'm drawn to the Hun-like appearance it's got going on. Okay, this guy's next. Uh-oh. That's way too wet. That's way too wet. I can't do shit with that. And so I'm using that, and I did cheat to find the Twin Blade, because when I first started playing the game, I'm like, okay, I don't know what's going on with this game. I haven't played a Souls game since Bloodborne, and I barely played that. Let's look up like a beginner's guide so I can figure out how to at least get started. And the beginner's guide talked about getting the Twin Blade, and so I did that. And then I decided I wanted to play the rest of the game blind, because that discovery is part of what makes the game fun, right? Is watching people who have never played it play it for the first time. Not gonna lie, I played the game so much that when it came out, my roommate and I came up with a cheese tactic to fight invaders. That's pretty awesome. I never had a chance to do that kind of stuff with my friends, because no one got into the same type of games I did at the same time. So I was always just kind of left to my own devices. One moment. In terms of enjoying games. The closest I ever got was when the Mass Effect 3 multiplayer came out. I think like 4 years later, when the game was dirt cheap on Origin. I bought it for a bunch of friends, and we played the hell out of that game. But yeah, like I mentioned, I don't own a legitimate copy of the game. This is a glorified demo. So I can't do anything online with it. Which is fine, because the online component of the game is cool, but it's not the main reason I want to play the game. No, that's not what I want. But I do know that as soon as I get some extra money, so like if someone commissions me to do something, I am 99% positive that this is going to be my first purchase. And if I've got to redo all my work, then fine, it is what it is. That's what I get for not acquiring the game legally the first time. But I'm probably not going to get the Twin Blade again, because I really just want to use a longsword. I'm a basic bitch. I want to use a longsword. I want to wear knight's armor. I just want to be that guy. Speaking of that guy, this guy is looking pretty good. But how long did that take me? That was 45 minutes of dry brushing to get them up to that level of brightness to do 2 layers. So I'm going to lay down one more layer of the Dorn Yellow. And I think, in this case, I might have to go ahead and go back to the lighter colors, or the smaller brush, to really get what I'm looking for. Because I really don't want to overdo it with the brightness. But also, I'm going to clean off this dry brush. So yeah, with the knowledge that I just beat Margit, and I'm at like level 23, and I'm using the base set of heavy armor and a Twin Blade, and I'm building into strength, is there any advice you can give me that doesn't spoil big swaths of the game? Because that's where I am right now, is I don't know what I'm doing. But I am having fun. And also, I think I may have to be back in a second, because I believe... Okay, yep. person is here, so do I have a be right back? Oh, wait, I know what I can do here. Give me a second, please. Wait, no, I know. Where is StreamerBot? I need StreamerBot open. The tactic was 2 of us in a 3-man party. In the 3-man party, we'd run a blood-based weapon, and we would turn the sprinklers on as we spewed. That's really funny. I appreciate that. So yeah, one moment. Is StreamerBot going to show up for me? Please, StreamerBot. I would love for you to work. StreamerBot. I forgot to turn on StreamerBot. You already have it running? I do not have a copy of StreamerBot running. You are lying to me, sir. Oh, there's StreamerBot. Okay, so that is working. So, yeah, we're going to go ahead and do this. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. I finally got to use it for real in the stream, and that makes me so happy. Uh, music's going back on, I suppose. Yeah, that works. So let's see. Advice would be to find a weapon you really like the fighting animation for and get good at it, putting Arts of Wars on the weapons and overall sticking to a fighting style you can work with. So if you happen to be good with the longsword, best use that and upgrade its scaling ability. I learned about scaling ability by watching Jacob and Julia play Dark Souls on Secret Sleepover Society. Overall, there are a lot of Arts of War in the game, some more useful than others, but many can change the type of damage you do or give your weapon fire damage. Others maybe remove stat scaling for a much better flat damage rate. So it comes to finding something that you like and using it. For the longest time, I used an Angelic Scythe almost all the damn time because I loved its special ability. That's super cool and gives me a lot to think about. Because I picked up the Twin Blade, excuse me, because I just heard the Twin Blade was good. Like, it was one of the better starter weapons. But I don't really like it that much. Like, it's fine for what it is, but I'm not finding myself in love with it. And I've dumped a decent amount of, like, growth into it. I think it's a +3 or a +4 right now, which I know in the long run is not much, but it feels like a pretty decent investment for as early into the game as I am. And, honestly, I kind of wish I could take it back and use that on the longsword that I have. Because I learned how to fight with longswords in real life, and I really like longswords. Though admittedly, scythes are also incredibly boss. If you can't tell by my love for Mortarion. That would be a fun build. You could just try and make Mortarion. Okay, and as you can probably tell, I'm having to be a lot more precious with my placement here. Because if I go too heavy-handed, it's just going to wash everything out. So yeah, thank you for the advice. You've given me a lot to think about in terms of what I can do and how to do it in the game. So, I do appreciate the advice of, like, find what you like and get good with it. And I understand that, because it's kind of like choosing the best army in 40k. There is no best army, because the rules change so much. Find an army you like, and you want to grow with, right? So, that's definitely some really solid advice. What's going on with the camera? Don't do that. Speaking of, Buddy came by. He needed to pick up some stuff he left over at the house. But, I was talking to him about this. QB is down in North Carolina doing a career day thing for a colleague, a friend, colleague, teacher. And she's a lot closer to a Warhammer store, a Games Workshop. The thing is, some builds are better than others, but a game can change stats because of updates and patches. Yeah, exactly. I figure with Elden Ring that, like any From Software game, you'd really have to fuck up your character for your build to not be able to, you know, beat the game. Because the game is beatable with a dude that's butt-ass naked and using a club. You know? So, I would figure that unless I'm absolutely destroying my character's build, I can make almost anything work. And that's kind of the mindset I feel like I should go into it with. And not worry too much about making sure that everything is super optimal. Speaking of, not gonna lie, my first character is sort of a glass cannon right now. That's fair. Did you fall for the treasure chest trap in the swamp? Because this dumb motherfucker did. The one that spits you out in the crystal mines where you're severely underleveled. Because I definitely made that mistake. And I did not realize quick travel was a thing in the game. So I tried to fight my way out of there, and it did not go well. Oh, that's not what I want. I want the holder. And then I looked it up, because I was like, how the hell do you get out of this place? How do you get out of this awful bullying that this game has decided to put you through? And that's where I read that you can, like, teleport out of the area. And I was like, no, you can't. You can't teleport in Elden Ring. Oh. So you can teleport in Elden Ring. So yeah. But yeah, like I said, I didn't know I could parry. I didn't know that was a skill that you could give your weapons. And so I basically fought Margit trying to dodge roll and block my way to victory with a medium load build and a twin blade. And it eventually worked, I guess. Because he's dead. But that sucked. Because I read also that, like, when I got frustrated, I was like, okay, how the hell do I beat this guy? I read that he's a good boss to learn how to parry with. Because of his wide sweeping attacks and windups. But I guess I'll never know. My problem with my characters is that I'm so high level, only have like 20 in Vitality, which most people recommend having 40 plus in late game. Good lord. Yeah, I think I've only put like, only right now got like 12 in Vitality. You need like 100,000 souls to level once. Yeah, you really are late game, aren't you? But yeah, that's kind of what happened to me. Was I was watching Julia from Drawfee play through Dark Souls 1, which I had really fond memories of in college, even though I was bad at the game. And it made me really want to play Dark Souls. But the Prepare to Die edition that I bought for Steam so many years ago doesn't work, because the jackasses put it with Games for Xbox Live or whatever. And that's no longer a thing. And I did not know that they were doing, like, a discount or a redemption or whatever on Steam. And I completely missed that window. And I don't want to pay full price for Dark Souls. Some late game enemies can effectively one-shot since some of their attacks are so quick. Yep. Okay, so I guess that's something I need to keep in mind then, is I want to get my Vitality up to at least 40 once I get to late game. Though, of course, that will also be contingent on me knowing what late game is. All I know right now is I'm having a really good time, and I am scared shitless to go anywhere. And, on a slightly different note, I'm really glad that this more controlled dry brushing is turning out okay, and giving a half-decent look of shine for the Custodes model. Vitality is good to give you. It's always good giving you more hit points. Yeah, I figured. I just kind of had the same logic you did in that I'd rather do more damage because they can't hit me if they're dead. But I suppose that's not always going to scale well, so being more survivable is definitely a good thing. Okay. Let's see what I can do here without ruining this whole thing, because I definitely have way too much on the brush right now. I don't want it to hit everything. I've mentioned it before, but this song is just like the embodiment of 90s hip-hop to me. Okay. Yeah, see, this is what happens when you have too much moisture on your brush, and it's loaded too much. It makes it so that the paint just kind of smears everywhere, and that's really bad for trying to dry brush. So I'm doing my best with what I've got, but it's definitely washing out some parts to this model, and that is not good. You're reinstalling Elden Ring? I would say I'm sorry, but I'm not. I think when I finally acquire the game through legal means, through legitimate means, I might stream myself playing it every now and again, and then you guys can just laugh at how shit my reflexes are. But that'll have to be a whole other thing. I know that Doig's been trying to get Swifty to play Elden Ring. And, like, she's not super interested because she's not interested in a game that's centered around combat. But I honestly think that the game's sense of exploration and how open it is would really appeal to her. Because while it obviously doesn't have a lot of the interaction that like Zelda has, it definitely still has some really cool moments that, if you're not expecting them, will take your breath away. Speaking of taking breath away, this guy ended up looking pretty darn good. He ain't taking my breath away, but he's definitely giving me big smiles. And I don't think I want to put the banner on his arm yet. Honestly, the game is so beautiful. It really is. Like, over the past couple years, there's only been a few games that have wowed me with how pretty they are. And one of them is Darktide. Because if you haven't played Warhammer... Oh man, I forgot to do him. If you haven't played Warhammer Darktide, like the way that they so faithfully depicted a hive world, a hive city, and the backdrops in the game, some of them will legitimately take your breath away. I think Darktide is an incredibly pretty game by Warhammer standards. And the art team for that game absolutely nailed what a hive city should look like. The original, or like Elden Ring, is also up there. I originally wasn't that into Elden Ring because of how heavy it leaned into like the plant theme, but seeing it in motion, it's such a pretty game. Breath of the Wild did that to me too. Breath of the Wild just being such a, everything about that game feels like a breath of fresh air. It's so beautiful. Yeah, Darktide's got a badass soundtrack. I was playing it yesterday, but it was just a bit much. You pinned the green stuff scope, brush primed it, now superglue pinned it onto the last can, and you think it's very much a success? Very cool. You got any pictures you want to show? I've got to learn to be better with green stuff, because I feel like, especially with how the modeling is now, green stuff is basically like another tool that modelers should use. You know what I mean? You'll break out the camera? Very cool. I can't wait to see it. I'll show it up on the on the stream window once you get it. Okay. And yeah, doing this dry brushing stuff was a good idea, because these Custodes models are looking infinitely better than they did the first time around, where I tried to hand do all of the shadows and whatnot, just because my skill level's not there yet. So hopefully, as I finish these guys up, it'll be a considerable success. Go ahead and hit that. Hit the inside. Whoops. Let's say he's not. Part of him is not visible, and that's not fair to the viewer. Okay. I think the only problem, like one of the biggest concerns that someone would have doing this, is very valid, is that because of how I'm doing the technique, everything is coming through very powdery and dry. And so if that's not the look you're going for, then this is not going to work well for you, you know? This is not going to be a successful design for you. But for what I'm doing, I'm pretty happy with this. Because I basically non-metallic metalled 5 Custodes in like an hour or two. And I think that's pretty admirable. Okay, so now that he's done, we're going to go ahead and clean off the dry brush again, because I actually don't need it now. And I think the next one is going to be Spear Lad. There we go. Okay, Spear Lad, let's go. Let's do just a little bit of dry brushing. And let's hope I don't have too much paint. I do have too much paint. I have too much paint and too much moisture. So this is not going to look great on this lad. That's okay. We're just going to go very lightly across all the model. I think I'll make a new character, try and do a longsword build so I can give you advice. Honestly, it's been so long since I've played, I don't remember much. That's fair. Like I said, I kind of want to go through the game as blind as possible, so I definitely appreciate it, but try and not spoil it for me, okay? And yeah, I think I'm still early enough in the game that I can pivot off of the twin sword build, right? Being at like level 22, 23. Because that doesn't feel like it's too late in the game for me. Okay. Yeah, damn it. This brush, I've made the brush way too dry, or way too wet, and now it's struggling to hold a fuzzy point for me to do the dry brushing with. So this guy's gonna look real messy in comparison to the last one. That's still early? That's what I thought. Like I said, I just got to Margit, so I feel like I got plenty of time to rectify. I haven't dumped that many resources into it yet. Now, the thing that kind of surprised me was, when I first saw it, I actually got to see a decent amount of Elden Ring, because I watched the Game Grumps play it. Well, I watched Aaron play it, but I remember next to nothing about his playthrough. To give you an idea, your main is like level 200 almost or something? Okay, well, that's definitely encouraging, because I didn't know where the level cap was for the Elden Ring. But yeah, I watched Aaron from Game Grumps play through it, and even though I think he beat the game, I remember next to nothing about him beating the game. Like, I don't remember much of what he faced. I don't remember much of where he went. All I really remember is that he played it and beat it. So, I guess that's good, because it means I really am going into this game with zero knowledge. And that means I get to experience the joy that is Elden Ring, as though I just got it, without anyone spoiling it for me. And I suppose if I ever get truly, truly stuck, there's enough places and resources online that I can just look it up and figure out how to deal with that situation. Okay, and once again, despite some of my reservations, this guy's actually looking pretty good. Okay, let's go ahead and do a little bit more dry brushing around the helmet. Now, in his case, I kind of wish I could have taken his helmet off, because I want to get, like, the metal plating underneath, but unfortunately, I super glued it on. It was the same for you since, with Dark Souls 1, since you remember PewDiePie playing it. Yeah, no, I got Dark Souls 1 on release. I got the collector's edition, so I've got, like, the original art book and everything. Well, the original concept art book, I guess. The only game I'd played, like, you know, the first time I saw a commercial for the damn thing, it was during a football game. And I just about lost my shit because they were advertising Dark Souls during a football game. And so all I could think of was, oh my god, that's so freaking cool. I do still think the Elite Knight set from that game is the best set of armor in all of the Soulsborne games. Though I also think that Bloodborne's Elite Hunter set, whatever one is on the title card, is pretty top tier too. Okay. Let's see, can I hit that without making too much? There we go. But yeah, Mr. Custodes men are coming along pretty okay. Men and women, actually, thank you. These lads and ladies are looking a whole lot better than they have any right to look based on how much I'm just kind of brute forcing a non-metallic metal scheme on them. It was perfectly designed for armor, such 19th century plate armor. Yeah, I know, right? And it did, I guess it helped at that time. I was really big into looking up that kind of armor because of the fact that I was really into HEMA. So, I really appreciated a lot of the things they did. Though, admittedly, I also really like the Knight set from Demon Souls. I feel like the one from Dark Souls 2 is kind of a downgrade, and I don't really remember the one from Dark Souls 3. Okay. I've been debating back and forth whether or not I want to get some Five Guys tonight, because Aria came into chat yesterday having purchased some Five Guys for herself. You would love to be in HEMA, but you live in a small state, so not many big or niche clubs. I got really lucky because a friend of mine in college started dating a city trooper. And that was weird to begin with, because she was, 19, 20. He was in his 30s, or late 20s, early 30s. So that felt a little funky. But he was a decent enough guy, and he had been stationed in Germany and had claimed to learn it there. And she was trying to get more people into it because he had been training her, and she knew that I was a history guy. She knew I did martial arts. And so she kept, I don't want to say harassing me, but basically asking me if I wanted to learn. And finally, one time, I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. And that's how I learned about it. And I had a lot of fun with it, because, college kid college kid, also nerd, getting to learn how to swing a sword for real? Hell yeah, sign me up. Okay, you posted it in Showcase. I'll look at it when I finish this pauldron. But, the guy, he claimed that he learned the style in a small German village near where he was stationed. And so it doesn't have any proper lineage to it. It doesn't have any verifiable record. But I have no reason to distrust him. You know what I mean? But it doesn't look like any of the other stuff that I have seen from historical European martial arts manuals. Another cool thing, it'd be cooler for, in the world to be a blacksmith. Actually, he was trying to get into that before, unfortunately, he had to move. And he bought himself a small forge and a small anvil. But I never got to see anything come from that. But one of my friend's friends who was getting out of Warhammer used the money that we paid him to buy himself an anvil. So I thought that was pretty cool. Am I just creating problems? No, everything's good. Okay, let's look at the showcase real quick. Oh, yeah, geez, that's really close. Let's go ahead and make that big. And window capture. Boom, boom, boom. Good job, Darkbolt. You got really, really close there. I take it the one on the right, the yellow block in the background, is the silicone mold. That makes sense. But yeah, on the tabletop, no one's gonna notice. That looks fantastic. Good job. Very cool. I feel sorry for any tank that happens to come your way, because they are going to be in a world of hurt. Okay. Next is going to be the guard captain, I suppose. Okay, let's hope. Nope, not dry enough. Oh well. Definitely not dry enough. This brush is still very wet, and that's a problem. Tanks are safe for me because I have no friends to play with. Oh, fair enough. Yeah, that's right. You mentioned, I think you mentioned that you mainly collect, you don't play very much. That's okay. You stuck with Dark Angels, right? So unfortunately, you don't even have a second faction that you can make really badass dioramas with. I'm sorry, buddy. Because that's kind of the second part of the hobby that I want to get into. I want to have these mass battle dioramas like what Games Workshop does. and just be able to take really cool pictures of that stuff. I'd recommend using a Razorback. It will make them super pinchy, being able to reroll wounds. Yeah. I need to get more Firstborn minis. More Firstborn vehicles. Dark Angels, you mean the whole thing they can fight now? Yeah, that's definitely not a bad one. You've got your Leviathan Nids you can paint for pictures. There you go. And there's plenty of them. You can even recreate that really cool Crimson Fists artwork where they're on the hill being surrounded by, you know, the countless baddies. The innumerable forces. Okay, I think I finally got the brush dry enough. I just had to ruin the shield to do it. That's definitely a feel bad. There we go. Okay, the shield's gonna look a little funky, but that's okay. Because now, the brush is dry enough that I can use it to dry brush primarily the edges, and not go too overboard here. And actually, I think I need more Dorn Yellow. Oh my goodness, after this, I've still got quite a few things I need to paint up. Though this is definitely giving me a whole lot of encouragement to eventually get the rest of the combat patrol done, because if I can be even sloppier with like the Sisters of Silence and with the bikes, I really don't have a reason why I can't do this. Okay. So I'm pretty jazzed about all that. And once again, it's dry enough and fucked up enough that I can definitely do all that. Now, I guess my other thing is I hope I can actually take this thing off of the little piece of poster tack I have in there. Because right now, I have a piece of poster tack jammed into the waist hole, and that's the only thing really holding him in place. And as you can tell, he's a wee bit wobbly. There we go. There we go. A little bit in there, a little bit in there, a little bit more there. Come on. A little bit there. Yeah, unfortunately, the only fun pictures I've been able to get, we staged a battle one time using a combination of Orcs, Death Guard, and Imperial Fists. And Admech. We had like the Admech and the Imperial Fists defending a Knight Castellan, I want to say, against a whole bunch of oncoming forces. What are you doing for your bases, or have I not decided yet? I 3D printed Custodes bases, like Imperial tile bases, a long time ago. Well, base toppers, and I put those on. So, I'm going to probably continue with that. Like, if you give me a second, you can kind of see it. They're not beautiful. I definitely hecked it up because I used a really shitty print settings, but you can see, like, the double-headed eagle kind of right there, and you can see the tiling right there. And the way I originally had it, it was, like, gray with a blue wash to give it kind of a tiling effect, and then all of the race parts here were gold, painted with just straight metallic metals because it was easy. Okay. Yeah, them some good photos. I love that stuff. No, I don't want to sign up or log in. Okay, give me a second. Let me see if I can pop that onto... Yeah, I think that'll work. There we go. You got some good photos going on here. Very cool. And then there's what they actually look like. I need to get back to doing my photography stuff. I'm not particularly good at it, and it's been a long time since I've practiced. So, at some point, I'm going to have to start playing with it again. Okay, this time I still didn't take enough off. Dagnabbit. Okay, thankfully all of this is going to be covered by the shield, so it's not going to matter too much that it's not perfect. And it will give the brush enough time to kind of spray out and flay out. But man, is this frustrating. Okay, for the bases, the justification could be that they're fighting on a fringe poor world that is low-level artisans. But they still try and honor the Imperium. Yep, that is true. I think in my case, I'm not too worried about it simply because, you know, no one's going to be really looking at these models that close. These are not ones I'm entering for a Golden Demon. Okay, there we go. Now it's dried out enough. I think in general my argument's just going to be that the tiling got all fucked up because they've been hit by artillery for the last month and a half or something. Taking pictures is fun, but my battery's nearly dead, so you gotta hunt for new ones for a 15-year-old digital camera. Oof, good luck. That's always the worst part about technology, is that planned obsolescence bullshit. You buy something hoping it will last for a while, and then you just get the news, nope, they stopped supporting that a while ago. Which is kind of why I'm happy that, I think it was the EU decreed that Apple needs to start using the USB-C port for their phones, because otherwise it had like a monopoly on their specific charging ports. Entering in the Golden Girl competition. Okay. I got 3 batteries, but 2 of them died, and your last one lasts for a minute. Yuck. I guess it's time to go on the eBay. But yeah, let me see if I can find any neat pictures that I might have taken for 40K glamour shots. Nope, that ain't it. When did we do some cool shots with was it this one? Yeah, I think these will do. Window capture. No. Yeah. We did stuff like this. So these were pictures that I took using my camera, I think, a long time ago. And because it was basically 4 armies, we had plenty of like stuff to fill it out. So we got like this set of infiltrators who are kind of cornered by a bunch of Death Skulls, I think they're called. I forget the name of the orcs. And they've got a Redemptor Dreadnought behind them. Got the Dreadnought, who is also flanked by an Armiger Warglaive. And I've got a 3D printed model that's supposed to be Alpha Primus, but he's kind of behind my head. So let me pop my VPO out of the way real quick. That was a really bad 3D print, but I had a friend who really wanted a copy of Alpha Primus from Belisarius Cawl, The Great Work, and that's what he turned into. Okay, there's a bunch of intercessors getting swarmed by Poxwalkers. They've got a chaplain over there and Torgaradon behind them cheering them on. I don't think I own most of these models anymore. I think I've sold them or given them away. We've got this great smoke effect because one of my buddies vapes, and so I asked him to do like a huge puff. Yeah, Prototype Primaris. And you can see, I believe that's a Tech Priest Dominus and some Assault Intercessors taking on a combat, and there's some Skitarii in the front. There's a lot going on there, and it's pretty heckin' neato. There's a better aerial shot, and you can see in the middle, I've got a 3D printed text-to-speech Rogel Dornhead on my Assault Intercessor Captain. And we had a little in-joke. If you notice, there's a Skitarii Alpha in the middle of a whole bunch of orcs. And that's because my buddy who played Admech, he named all of his Admech after, like, Shakespearean characters. And when we were doing Kill Team, he named that character Nick Bottom. And it was because Nick Bottom's one of his favorite characters from Midsummer Night's Dream. And whenever he played as Nick Bottom would be completely ineffectual and then die. So the running joke became that Nick Bottom was an incredibly defective, incompetent Skitarii that would just go run out and get itself killed in the most ridiculous ways. And so in this case, it charged in and got stuck in with a whole bunch of orcs who were about to completely obliterate it. One thing I've been doing recently is painting my roommate's Blood Angels. We got them for Christmas. It's been a lot of fun painting different colors. That's easily one of my favorite things, and it's why I love commissions so much, is being able to paint something you normally wouldn't paint. Okay, I think this guy's done. I think he's gold enough. Okay. This last one, I think this is the last guy I'm going to do, and then I'm going to have to call it, because I still need to make dinner. And I'm still debating whether I want to get myself Five Guys, because it's kind of expensive with the delivery fees, but I haven't had Five Guys in a long time, and I want Five Guys. So I might get myself Five Guys, because I want Five Guys. but yeah. We're going to go ahead, and I'm going to try. I'm actually going to be gentle with this guy. I really want him to look good, so I'm not going to be as sloppy with my dry brushing as I've been with the other ones. This is my favorite model, and if I had been able to take the head off, this one would have been given like that really awful side swoop that every strong female character TM has gotten over the past like 5 years. But I actually unironically like that haircut, so I would probably have given it to this one. Recently saw one of my favorite STL makers announce a campaign going live a day after your birthday. Very cool. Gotta love when that happens. Okay. The largest number I got to take a picture of for 2022 when I busted out all my finished models at the time. Let's say that's going to be a big one. That is a big one. Holy mackerel. Window capture. Full shot. Bam! Look at those lads. Very, very cool. I see you've got some cardboard titans in there doing the smart thing. A couple land raiders, a whirlwind, some rhinos. Very nice. Very, very cool. Whoops, that's not what I want. I want to do that. Beautifully painted too. Did you freehand that banner? Because that looks gorgeous. And yeah, I really wish that 40K was still at this scale. But you know, can't do much with it. God, I love the freehanding. Love the venerables. I will say, with that color, especially without my glasses on, it's almost gingerbread men with icing, and I dig it. I need to get me some drop pods, man. That looks so good. Awesome job. Kudos to you. She would be a Karen Stodes. Well, no, she's not going to have the bob. But I see where you're coming from. I think I'm going to do that too. I'm going to make a Custodes lady with like the Karen haircut. And I'm going to make it have like the terrible dye job and everything. We're going to call her Joannis K. Rowling. 3 cardboard vehicles in the collection, not counting the Warlord printout. Well, you know what? If it saves you money and it works just as well, more kudos to you. Something I saw recently, someone created a Land Raider using $15 worth of craft materials. And I am jealous because they did a really good job and it really looks like an authentic Land Raider. So I kind of want to do that. But to be completely honest, I also just kind of want a new Land Raider. I bought a well-loved, beat-up, used one on r/miniswap, and it was missing parts. So my Land Raider's a bit naked in some aspects, and definitely in need of some more touch-ups. And I didn't realize it was missing as much as it was until I got it. So I spent like $85 to get a Land Raider that was missing some of the, not the major parts, nothing major was missing, but some of the stuff that made it look cool. Okay, the music should cycle, I think, very soon. I'm building my cardboard Thunderhawk, still trying to make the wing engines. Good luck. You're probably just going to have to score the inside of the joints really, really shallow, and then use that to roll it around. Okay, a little bit more gold on the parts that are going to be hit by lights. More gold there. More gold there. I can feel myself getting close to the end because A, I'm hungry, and B, I'm so tired of doing this. But I mean, all in all, this was a much faster process than I expected it to be. Because normally it's like half a Custodes a night, you know what I mean? So the fact that I was able to get this guy done, to get all of these guys done with their gold over essentially like 2 painting sessions is kind of amazing. You're a stickler for details. You're gonna pick up a new Kratos tank. Very cool. You don't want to make the engine from scratch 6 times, so I was hoping to make a mold or a master. Well, good luck with that. Shit's difficult. I mean, maybe you can, I don't know what it's called. A pattern. That's what it is. Okay, well, I have ruined this brush. I'm going to go ahead and see if I can knock as much of the paint off of it as possible, but I'm pretty sure there's so much stuck in the ferrule now that this brush is really fricked. I'm going to have to soak it in alcohol, which is fine. So yeah, there we go. All of the Custodes, by and large, have gotten their gold dry brushing done. And hopefully, I don't know if how much of it was in focus because I haven't been paying attention to the camera, but hopefully you guys enjoyed that process of watching them go from, you know, dark brown to this color, and eventually, probably next time, I'll go ahead and do the details. Because I'm pretty jazzed with how each one of these guys turned out. Come on, focus camera, you can do this. Because they went from half complete or not very well complete to this, and I think they look great. Very, very cool. Very, very, very cool. That print job's only halfway done. Okay, let's see what you got for me. Bam! Media tumbler. What you got? Oh, damn! Jesus. That is a lot of studs. Look at that. Holy crap, dude. If that isn't impressive, I don't know what is. Like, doing the fine details on that stuff always blows my mind. So, very, very good job with that. I can't wait to see that thing when you're all done. My hope is that you make a video where you, like, toss it off your roof and then it explodes into a fireball, but you edit it so it's never in any danger and it just looks like it blows up or something. That being said, I am inching ever closer to being done with these guys. I don't know if I'm going to be able to finish tomorrow, but my hope is that I can actually have a completed, very pretty... I will not toss it. Completely understandable. A really pretty Custodes army, Combat Patrol army, and that all the rest of the colors I'm going to be bringing to these guys really help their non-metallic metal dry brush sing. So, like I said, I think I'm going to call it because I still need to get dinner. I have made the decision that I am going to get 5 guys. I'm going to eat that cost and deal with it. But let's see where we can send you. I think we're going to go to... What are they doing on Studio J7? Ooh. Yeah, I think we're going to go ahead... Actually, who? Let's see. What is Rebecca Roney doing? Because she's online. She's playing the Hex. Which is a... It looks like a Flash game from the early 2000s. Interesting. Dupus is playing Kingdom Hearts. Yeah, I think we're sending you to Studio J7. That's the closest to the kind of stuff I was doing. So, /raid Studio J7. I think that's right. Is that right? Let's find out if that's right. That is correct. Okay, so... Well, boom. Okay. Thanks for joining me, guys. I really appreciate it. Like I said, I'm not going to be able to stream in the evenings anymore, so my streaming is going to be more like, you know, 8, 9 o'clock Eastern, so I'll see you later, and goodbye.